Hi guys, welcome back to Outspoken and Overbooked. Today we have Michelle Raue as our guest on our second episode. Michelle, thank you so much for joining us, and we're just going to kick it off with kind of the reason that I had reached out to have you on here is over the last year, I can tell on LinkedIn you definitely have like far more of a presence. And so I was just intrigued by you and your consistency. And so for those that don't know anything about, your content or things like that, I wanted to kind of just kick off there if that works for you.
Works perfectly. Yeah, and thanks for asking me. I appreciate it.
For sure.
So I started posting in earnest probably about a year ago. So you're right. And it's kind of built up. I'm in this group that's what we do. Like there's a bunch of really good content creators in there, and I don't consider myself one of those good content creators, but the theme is like if you show up consistently, you will build this, really great community. And that's what I appreciate the most about it, right? I'm not trying to get a million likes or any of that kind of stuff. It's just to have really nice people that you engage with on a regular basis. And, maybe I can help some folks along the way with all the, I earned these gray hairs, like all of the experiences that I have. So I've built it up to where I do kind of 5 days a week with, and they all have a theme, and just making sure that I make sure I do it every week.
Right. That was this biggest struggle for me when I got started for probably 2 years is I would go one week where I did every day and then it would be, one here and there or like a job posting and stuff. And so really realizing how important it is to be consistent and people start to know that you have the industry knowledge or, you're good for a laugh or, whatever.
Right.
I try to do the same, like as far as mixture of content, because again, nobody wants to just see insurance articles or insurance. I mean, sometimes we need a break from the industry. So
Right.
I
Absolutely.
appreciate yours. I wanted to know, how did you get comfortable with recording? Because I am still I'm a very outgoing person, but the camera, I'm just like, hi, like,
Yeah. No, and I absolutely my preference is a written post. I still like those a lot better. I write better than I speak, I believe. But again, I got convinced by some people. They're like, you have to put yourself on out there on video, and so I just commit. I said I'm gonna do this, and I went out and posted a post and said I'm gonna do these Monday mornings with Michelle videos. Send me questions and keep me honest. And so if I put something out there and say I'm going to do it, I'm one of those people who will, like,
stick
I
with it.
said I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it. But I can't tell you that I've ever gotten really comfortable with it.
Okay. Yeah. This podcast, my coach has been wanting me to do for like 6 or 8 months. And I'm like, I just don't think that like enough. I'm on LinkedIn every day. I have a newsletter. Like to me, it was like, I'm too nervous, whatever. And so after that first one, and I just kind of reached out to you and like a few other ladies before I went out on my cruise where I was going to have sketchy internet. Cause I was like, if they all say no, then, I won't know until I get back from out of town. And all but two had said yes. Actually, Tinsley English, who's very big on LinkedIn also, she's going to record this week.
Cool.
So it just brings it back to like, I feel like LinkedIn is kind of like a hidden community that people maybe don't realize, that just get on here and there. But really, it is so good for career growth and, community and things like that. And so I definitely appreciate your content. I do want to talk a little bit about insurance because January is going to be, I'm going to have three insurance gals on the podcast that will come out in January. And so I feel like insurance is sort of like recruiting. Not that many people set out saying, I'm going to be in insurance. And so I always kind of am interested on people's, how that ended up. And we'll just go from there.
Yeah, no, it was totally an accident for me. I mean, I'm a lot older than most folks, but when I was in school, they didn't even, I don't even think there may have been a handful of schools that actually had risk programs, but I had never heard of it, right?
Right.
I didn't know you could go to school to be in insurance. And so I actually was in banking, and the savings and loan I was working for went belly up. And I was like, I have to go find another job. And the girl next to me's dad was a State Farm agent. And she said, let's go apply at the claim office. And I had no idea what claims people did. I didn't know anything about like that life. And then I started and was like, wow, if somebody had come to a career day and told me that this was the kind of fun you get to have at work, then I probably would have thought about it, right? But so
I know. And that's the thing that I wish it would have happened by now, but I wish that we could get the word out more that, young people would be thinking that this is a career that is, not just something that you fall back on if what you graduate from college doesn't pan out. Because as you know, everyone knows in the industry, as all these people are set to retire over the next 5-7 years, and the youngsters are not coming in at the pace that the retirees will be going out. It's like, I was a single mom. I answered an ad in the newspaper because I wanted to be close to my son's daycare so I wouldn't have to miss like muffins with mom and those kind of things. He's 23 years old now. But I got there, I was like, what's an endorsement? What's liability? Like, but yeah, obviously having worked in the industry and now recruiting for it, it's like there are so many ways to go within the industry that I just don't think people realize how much growth and how much money there is to be made in insurance,
Yeah, and we do it. We are the worst industry about telling our own story. We just let the narrative be told by everybody else, and we do not get out there and talk about how great we are and the good that we serve. And it hurts us all over. The plaintiff bar wins all the time, and it hurts us in recruiting too, because they see the billboards of plaintiff attorneys that talk about how bad insurance is and how much they're always trying to screw everybody, and that affects
the
them
image of
wanting
it.
to go into this industry. And none of that is true, and we just refuse to get together as a industry and fight back. But
Right.
I don't know where it's going to go. I mean, I'm really happy to see more and more schools have risk management programs, because that's huge just to have the visibility on the campuses, and I think that's helping. But I think we're still really slow to bring people in, and it's the most stable industry. There is so much to do in it. My husband always says all the time, he's like, I had no idea that people could make such a nice living in that industry. So we just have to get out there and tell the story better.
Absolutely. And I feel like employers also are going to have to invest in, as different industries are having more and more layoffs, I feel like employers, especially the big ones that are going to have a lot of empty seats, like I would be starting now if,
Yeah.
Like customer success managers, I feel like there's so many of them on LinkedIn, like open to work because they've been laid off. It's like, I would be going after those people and training them up and getting them licensed and things like that. But like I told my son years ago, I was like, insurance is very much a career that you do need to get in there. You do need to have the hands-on time. You can learn the stuff, obviously in the college program, but you still have to do the reps of learning the stuff. Like I can pick it up pretty quick, but when you're out of it also for a while, I'm like, don't take my word. Like people still want me to look at their home and auto, and I'm like, I'm not sure. I forget what water sewer backup covers. You better call your agent. Like, I don't remember. I don't want to tell you what
Right.
limits to get or whatever. So, so what in your career right now, I see you traveling a lot. So what type of, like with the claims, what do you do in your role?
So right now I'm a chief claim officer, so I run an entire claims organization for a carrier, and just make sure that we're super efficient in getting people's losses taken care of the way we should, and have a better image than the plaintiff bar portrays of us. But I also am doing, like right now, there's a lot of transformation happening in insurance because everybody's sitting on these old legacy systems. So I have two kind of full-time jobs. I'm the chief claim officer and the chief transformation officer, and we are implementing a core suite replacement. So we are replacing all of our systems with cloud-based technology, and that's a huge undertaking considering we're sitting on like 5 legacy systems that we have to get off of.
Oh my gosh, that is going to be a lot of work. How long does
Yeah.
that process take from start to finish?
Well, we are halfway we're doing it in 2 releases. And we are halfway through our first release. So this time next year, we will have launched the first segment, and then we'll have another one to go. So it'll be about another 18 months after that. So we got another about 2.5 years left.
Wow. And so do you travel pretty much every week to different offices?
Well, my our company is still fully remote, which is getting more and more unusual. And my office is in the middle of upstate New York. So, and I live in Tennessee.
Right.
So
It's a little cute.
that, that makes for a long commute. And I do a lot of like industry conference speaking and attending those kind of things. So I'm gone a lot. I mean, mostly traveling almost every week. I just looked at my calendar and I get to be home for like 30 days and I'm not going to know what to do with myself.
Um, well, yeah, I wanted to touch on that too. About when did you start doing where you're like empowering other women and doing the speaking and stuff like that? Because I know that's a goal, personal goal of mine, down the road. But I just was curious kind of how you got into that and what that looked like.
Yeah. I mean, it's not something I really sought out, but the more content you put out there,
Yeah.
people reach out to you on a pretty regular basis and ask you to do things. So it kind of started as like getting asked to be on lots and lots of industry panels. Did that, and then same people that convinced me to start putting video out also kind of urged me to get work up a keynote, because I get asked a lot, do you have a keynote that you speak on? And I'm like, no, I'm not a speaker, which I'm not. I mean, I'm an absolute introvert. Those things terrify me, but I have a keynote that I have that is about disrupting mindsets, and I have delivered it on stage. So,
That's
but
awesome.
yeah, I mean, it's just the more visible you are out there, the more people are looking for folks to fill these things, and they'll contact you. And I really had to start learning how to say no, because I could do them all the time, and I just don't have time for that. I got 2 full-time jobs.
Right. Um, when you have people, do you have gals that reach out to you for career advice and how to ask for that promotion or when it's time to maybe look, for something different?
Yeah, I mean, I spend a lot of time mentoring. I am on the board of Rise Professionals, which is a uh, organization that gives new entrants into the industry a place to network and get involved. And then there's a lot of us older folks in there and they have a mentoring program every kind of semester. They do it spring and fall, and it's getting bigger and bigger every time. And I've had a mentor through that program for the last, I don't know, I'm probably on my 6th or 7th mentee with them. So that's always a structured program. But then I keep them and I have them like, so I talk to them on a regular basis. But I also have a lot of people who will reach out and send me a note and say, I call them micro mentorships. Some of them want more, like you know, a longer term
Sure.
mentoring opportunity, but a lot of them are also like you said, like, I have this coming up. Would you mind talking to me and just helping me walk through it? Or I'm dealing with this. How would you do it? And I love that. And it's so shocking to me because people will send me a note and I respond back to them and say, yeah, let's set up a call. And they're like, oh my God, I was so afraid to ask because I thought you would, you know, never respond, or you'd be
Right.
like too busy. It's always funny to me that people are fearful to reach out, because I think that most of us out there would love to help. Like, I don't think I've ever
Yeah,
turned
I
anybody
feel
away.
like such a great passion towards, especially females in the industry. Um, and I mean, it has improved greatly since I left. But I think I said this on the other podcast is when I would work at that job, just typing ID cards all day and like doing endorsements and things like that. And, you'd be like the last one to leave because you got to make sure that they had their ID card for getting their vehicles in the morning and whatnot. And you'd walk out to like the crappiest cars in the parking lot. It's like all the gals leaving at like 5:30 and just looking around like, how come those boys always get to leave early? No, I just always was curious, like what
Mhm.
about growth within the industry. And so I love helping women now that, especially in more rural areas. I'm like, you still have the same coverage knowledge as somebody in New York City. You know what I mean?
Right.
You still know the exact job, but kind of directing them towards their value. I feel like anybody that really cares about the industry is going to want to help where they can, keep, especially the females, like informed. I try to be there when, they have questions about, with so many companies getting bought up, you know, it's like you don't kind of want to wait till you get
Yeah.
so I appreciate that you are guiding people and have been for years. How long do you think you'll stay within the industry? Like, do you have any plans for?
Yes, my husband has me, he's like putting a hard stop out there. I would work forever. I love it. I just love what I do. And I always tell people if I won the lottery, I'd still do what I do. I love it that much. But we have a 15-year-old son that has to finish high school. So I have, and my husband's already retired. So he's like ready. But I told him, I said, okay, I'll give me until our son graduates and, a year into his first year in college, and then I'm going to have to step away. So I'm looking at, I'm in the home stretch. I'm in like the last 5 years. So
Well, and I feel like I talked to somebody else maybe a few weeks ago that's been in the industry for 35 or 38 years. And the importance also of, she's like, okay, well, when I say I'll be a part-time consultant, I want to make sure that whoever I go work for or consult with understands I only want to be a part-time. She's like, my nervousness is that I'll never stop. But I think there's going to be a large opportunity for that too, as far as that I mean, like I keep saying, we can't just lose all the knowledge of the industry when all these people retire. It's
no.
not getting passed down fast enough, I feel like. So I think there's going to be a lot of people that do stay on, kind of doing like consultant type work with that knowledge. Cause it's
I
like,
mean, as much as I love it, I'll probably end up still, being on a board or, something.
I can see that. Okay. I wanted to ask you, so as the new year kicks off, I really hate saying New Year's resolutions. I really do. But, do you plan to change anything up next year with your LinkedIn, or you want to keep going with being like the consistent 5 day a week person?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I've kind of hit my stride, and I feel like the topics that I hit every day are a little bit different, and they have different followings, and I like that. I like being able to have a little bit of diversity in what I put out there. Um
Love it.
and I think I'll keep I'll just keep trying to keep consistent in what I do. I end up I mean, you said how hard it is. I do all my content on a weekend and have all the posts set to scheduled to go out all week. So I don't have to worry about it during the week because I don't know if I could keep up if I had to like think today, oh, I need to do tomorrow's post.
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely like to have that done ahead of time. Unless something just pops up that day that I'm like, okay, this
Yeah.
is fresh or, top of mind. Um, so when I was talking to Tara, the author on the other podcast, um, we set like a butterfly goal for this year for 2026. And I actually just hit the send button before I got on with you. So I used to teach spin classes, indoor cycling classes for like 4 or 5 years. But now since COVID, I got married, these cheeks filled in, and I'm just getting back to the gym like regularly for the last year. But as far as teaching, but they asked me to teach there probably 6 years ago, and I was too busy teaching at this other gym. Anyway, so a little rusty, but I put in my application this morning. So that's my
Oh,
butterfly
awesome.
goal um, for 2026, for something, to push for that's physical, but also just kind of one more thing to get like tackling fears. So I loved when I saw you on a different podcast and when you were like, I just don't care what people think anymore. I'm like, I'm so glad I'm to that point, because as I'm reading the application, my stomach like drops when it's like, okay, and we'll contact you for audition day. And I was like, oh my God. And then I'm like, who cares?
You
Just
got
go
this.
in. If
Yeah.
you're not a fit for them at 45, with a little extra, then that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, so anyway, I love that you are spreading that message. I love feeling this way. My friends that are older, they're like, I told you, girl, when you hit that perimenopause age, you ain't got time to worry about anything, what people are thinking. There's just
I
not
wish
time
it
for it.
was something we learned much earlier in life because it's taken me a while, but now it's like, you know what? I just don't. Those, the things you worry about as a younger person, and you look back and think, what the heck? This is just, it was not worth it. It was not worth the worry. Nobody cared nearly as much as you did. And, you know,
Yeah, and the
it,
time wasted. It's like, just go live your life. If you're not somebody's cup of tea, they can scroll on by or not attend your class or not follow your content. It's like,
yeah.
I'm not I'm not for everyone. But what would you say would be one of your goals that you want to do this year? Kind of like,
Well, I mean, as I'm living this transformation project or putting in this core suite replacement, that's my like for us to finish on time is will be a huge coup because nobody does these projects and ends up on time, and we have managed somehow to stay on time and on budget, and we're going to get
keep
it
on
to
going.
next year this time and have rolled out our first phase of the system, and that's really my sole goal. I mean, I'm speaking of consistency, one of the like I say I'm going to do something and I always do it. I go to Orange Theory every morning. I mean, I'm on like my 1600 class, so I will keep doing all of that. But as far as my major goal is to get this system implemented on time.
That'll feel so good and be such a relief when that is complete. One of the other guests that's coming on this week, she's also an insurance recruiter, Nikki Brandt. We are doing a whole thing on the importance of not letting physical fitness be pushed to the wayside. Because I feel like when my husband and I got married and I had to move away from my gym, so now I drive 25 minutes back to my old gym. But I tried all these different places and they don't have an Orange Theory out by me. It's like, you have to like where you're going or you're never going to do
Right.
it. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter
Yeah.
what you pick. If you don't
Yes.
like it, you might as well save your money and get out. Don't sign that contract because you ain't going. And so,
That's true. It's so true.
so, but yeah, just the importance of that. And like, Tinsley and I are going to touch on also the health stuff with females in business, just because we all get busy and it's like, I'll get that appointment in 2 weeks. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I have a window of time in a month from now. And it's like, sometimes your health is like, nah, girl, you're going today, whether you know it or
Yeah.
not.
And then you put it off so long when you finally think about it and you call, they can't see you for like 8 months.
Yeah.
You kind of have to like, make the appointment for next year when you're leaving the appointment this time. So
And be
be
on top of it.
consistent there too, because it's super important and things can creep up on you. And I'm sorry, but as women, we face a lot more than the guys do.
Yeah. I tried to Dayquil and NyQuil myself out of this sickness I had a few weeks back or like a month ago. And I was like, I'm going to this conference. I've been excited for this. You know, I have so much medication. And I get to the fun part where you get to socialize and have drinks and snacks at the end. And I mean, I couldn't take it anymore. So I ended up in the ER in a city I didn't know. I'm like, okay, if you would have just said, I can't attend this year because I feel like garbage. But no,
Yes.
I FOMO and I didn't want to miss the speakers, which they were great. And I am glad I got to at least go for the first day. But I'm like, why did you do that? Like,
Yeah.
you need to listen. You're sick. You don't, and always thinking like, I don't get sick. And well, sometimes apparently you do.
Yes. Sometimes we have to, learn to step back and go. Last year, this time, I had ended up, I mean, I was just in total burnout because I had said not learn to say no to all those engagements and stuff. And, you run yourself down. And I learned then, I was like, next year, you're not going to do that. You're not going to say yes to everything. So,
Yes, well, definitely will catch up. So I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me. I wanted to ask each of you ladies this week that I'm interviewing one piece of advice, which is kind of hard to narrow down for young women either thinking about getting into the industry or in the industry, but maybe ready to go to that next level. How do you give them that push? Some people have the confidence and some people don't, but how do you give them kind of that push to be like, this is how you want to go about it?
right. And I think, if you look across insurance, there are a majority of the frontline folks are women. And then as you progressively go up, it gets less and less. And I think we're our own worst enemy because women tend to wait until we feel like we're fully ready for something, or, we're afraid to take a leap until we feel like we are completely ready, have every bit of experience that position needs, and then we'll go for it. And we're not the best advocates for ourselves, right? We I think we suffer a lot more from imposter syndrome than men do. And that's what I would always try to tell people is, have the confidence to know that you are as good as anybody else. You've built up your experience and what you're ready. Just go do it. You can't, it's never going to be perfect. It's like people waiting, for the perfect time to have a kid or perfect time to buy a house. There's never going to be a perfect time.
Right.
So, step out there and just take a leap of faith and do it. That's kind of been my motto in my career is like, you just have to hold your breath and jump. And
And
sometimes
have
it
the
works and
confidence.
sometimes it doesn't.
I want them to have the confidence so much. I'm like, you have the knowledge at this point, you've been in 3 years or 5 years. It's like, you have the knowledge. But yeah, like you were saying, just take the jump or
Yep.
like, or, and also, I guess, if the first one is a no, that's okay. That doesn't mean don't ever try it again for 5 more years or, it's like, I want that message to get out there to women in the industry.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
don't back
We've got
down.
to,
Don't be
I mean,
scared.
you've got to advocate for yourself. That nobody else is going to do it. Sure.
Right.
I mean, it's good to build up mentors and people like that. And there's people you can get internally that will, push you and say your name when you're not in the room. But really, when it comes down to it, it's you advocating for what you want.
Right. And walking in there like you deserve it.
That's
And
right.
oftentimes you do. Well, I appreciate it. I don't want to take too much of your time. I hope you have a happy holiday season
You too.
and enjoy that month off. I'm also home for the next, my husband's like, how long this time? I was like, 5 weeks. 5 weeks I'm going to be home. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to need it because I'm sure when it's over, it'll be really over.
yeah.
Getting back into the weekly grind, but yeah, I'm going to enjoy it.
All right. Well, thank you again. And this will be coming out the first week of January. So I'll send you
Okay.
a message and
Thank you
tag you.
so much for asking me. Have a great
Ab-
Christmas.
Absolutely. You too. Okay.